time for another installment of The Basics, and on today's show, I want to talk about mana costs in Magic the Gathering, because there always seems to be confusion from a lot of players, both new and old, that wonder why some cards cost less and some cards cost more to bring out. So I'm going to try to explain it as best I can on this episode. Let's get started, shall we? Now, as I've mentioned on previous episodes of this show that deal with Magic the Gathering, a lot of elements of the game and the cards therein are dependent on the colors. Now, what I mean by that is there are some colors that have more low-cost cards than others. For example, black and white are the two colors that have some of the lowest costs of mana on their cards at 1, or in this case a single mana. And there's other suits like green and red that have some of the highest costs. Then you have colors like blue that have cards that cost anywhere from 1 up to about 10, and so on and so forth. And it also depends on the type of card and what the card does. So for example, an 05 creature that only costs 2 to bring out because it's a defender, it doesn't do much than defend. You have a 3/6 creature in green, Treefolk, that costs 5 to bring out. Obviously, it's a more powerful creature, it's going to cost you more to bring it out. You have cards from black like Paralyze, which is actually a decent card, but it only costs 1 mana to bring out. But a sorcery, which is Morbid Hunger, deals 3 damage to target creature or player, and you gain 3 life, but it costs 6 to bring out. And this is continued through pretty much every suit. You have cards from red that cost 5 and 1. You have some cards from blue that cost 6 to bring out, and you get the smaller costs from white. You even have a card that costs 8 to bring out, but it's a 1/1 creature, and you're probably wondering, why does that cost 8 mana to bring out if it's only a 1/1 creature? Well, it morphs, and then you play it face down as a 2/2 creature for less than half of the cost. It's a dual-purpose card. Then you get into the multicolored and or called gold cards, and look at some of the different costs on these cards, but how they work. One of them, for example, you need 3 different mana. So you need 1 red, 1 green, 1 white, obviously because you'd be using it in a multicolored deck. Axelrod Gunnarsson, a decent creature, it needs 8 mana, but 4 of any color, 2 black and 2 red to bring out. And some as simple as Selesnya Evangel, which is 1 green and 1 white, or Izzet Chronarch, which is 3 of any color plus 1 blue plus 1 red. And this is all dependent on the color deck you're making plus the multicolored deck. And finally, you have artifacts, which can cost as little as 1, and this goes for any type of mana. And some are as high as 8 or 9. I have several that are 6, depending, and that's Doom Cannon. In Doom Cannon, you have to sacrifice a creature of the chosen type before it deals 3 damage. So that gives you an idea of why some of these cards cost in mana the way they do. They don't all do the same thing. They all have bonus features and other things that they accomplish in your battle. So you can't really use a one-size-fits-all approach when you're building a deck in terms of mana costs, because it's completely different, not just for every color, but for every type of card as well. Wow! Magic cards! Now, with all that being said, you might think that the cost of mana and the way it works in the game is completely convoluted, but it's really not. In fact, Magic has always been the easiest CCG to start up and play and build a deck. Imagine if Magic would have went the Spellfire way and made the game that convoluted. I'd be putting my head through this wall several times over. Magic is easy. Once you get the hang of it and figure out the cost of the cards and build your deck, it's smooth sailing from then on in compared to other CCGs. Have a great day.